I'm going to be going through every NFL team's upcoming season, looking at every game and predicting how their year will pan out. And as you saw in the title, we're starting out with the Lions. Now, I am a Detroit Lions fan, but as many of you already know, I'm the most unbiased sports analyst throughout all social media. I'm going to tell it to you straight. I'm still going to give you the truth. And that's the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl. Starting with a quick recap of last season, the Lions finished second in the NFC North with a record of 9-8. We saw the rise of Ben Johnson last season. The Lions had a top 5 offense. They finished really hot as well with an 8-2 record throughout their last 10 games, knocking the Packers out of the playoffs. Week 18, they had a 5-1 record within the division. They went 4-4 on the road, which I thought was surprising because the Lions recently have struggled on the road. Winning 4 games, it's not the best, but they won some pretty tough road games. Won in MetLife twice against a good Giants team and a good Jets defense. So offensively, the Lions were amazing, a top 5 offense, and now they've added Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, and Jameson Williams is going to be back week 7. So offensively, they're amazing, and now they're even better. But on the other side of the ball, defensively, the Lions were not as good. Aaron Glenn's crew definitely struggled throughout the first half of the season. Not as bad throughout the second half of the season. The Lions were obviously able to win more games, but it still wasn't a super scary or strong defense. But they were improving. It was a super young core. The Lions had the youngest team in the NFL last season. We saw a lot of high moments with their defense, with Aiden Hutchinson, Kirby Joseph after Tracy Walker went down week 3 against the Vikings. And of course, James Houston, Thanksgiving throughout the second half of the season, was a beast. Statistically, the Lions were one of the worst defenses in the NFL last season. I believe a bottom 3 defense, and it was mainly because the second half of the season, they were just so bad, like giving up so many points, so many yards, that in the second half, they weren't able to recover from that ranking. And even in the second half of the season, they still had their bad games. We remember the heartbreaking Panthers loss where the Lions could not stop the run for whatever reason. Obviously, that reason was because the Lions had no defense against the run. But even with improving their young core throughout the second half of the season, with mainly Kirby Joseph exploding, Aiden Hutchinson, James Houston, the Lions added a ton of talent this offseason. They drafted Jack Campbell, linebacker out of Iowa in the first round, who's really good at coverage. The Lions struggled with that short-range coverage last season. Malcolm Rodriguez, he was a young linebacker. He was pretty good, but he struggled in coverage, and that's one thing that Campbell's going to improve with this defense. The Lions also signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson, arguably one of the best safeties in the NFL right now. Cameron Sutton to a 3-year deal, Emmanuel Mosley to a 1-year deal. Hopefully he recovers and has a great season after his injury last season. So a lot of improvements from last season. They had a really good offense, and now they have a super good offense. They improved their running back room from DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams to David Montgomery, who bounces off defenders, and Jahmyr Gibbs with elite speed and pass catching. And then defensively, they had a bad defense in the beginning of the season, a manageable defense in the second half of the season, and now their defense looks to be one of the better defenses this upcoming season. I'd say they're in the top half of defenses at least for this upcoming season. So there's your quick top level recap of the Lions last year. And now let's move on to the schedule predictions. Week 1 at KC, game of the year, Thursday night, kicking off the NFL, and I am so excited for this game. I don't see how you could not be excited for this game. It's the defending champs taking on a super explosive offense, a team that nobody really saw coming last year and then exploded in the second half of the season and is one of the most exciting teams to watch. I know I'm a Lions fan. I'm probably hyping it up too much, but I'm unbiased. As a diehard Lions fan who is also an extremely unbiased and fair sports analyst, this game is going to be amazing. I mean, 2 top offenses against 2 pretty solid defenses. I don't see how this game doesn't go 33 or 35, like put up 60 plus points between the 2 teams. Now I know Patrick Mahomes is 5-0 in season openers, and he has an 18-0 touchdown interception ratio in season openers, but I'm telling you now, the Lions are going to win this game. I've been saying it. They're going to shock everybody. I think the consensus with all the sports analysts is that the KC is going to win this game. Patrick Mahomes hasn't lost in a season opener. I'm telling you, this is going to be the one he loses. Now, I swear, I'm not being biased when I say that. I probably am. But just looking at the two teams, the Lions, their offense is unstoppable. One of the best offensive lines. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, both in the backfield. Jared Goff hasn't thrown a pick in how long? That streak's still going on. Amon-Ra St. Brown out wide, Marvin Jones out wide, Cal Raymond out wide. That offense is going to be unstoppable. And the Chiefs could not stop the Eagles offense in the Super Bowl. What makes you think that they're going to stop another top 5 offense? Now, it is in Kansas City. It is prime time. The Chiefs have been there in big situations before, big games. The Lions, it's a young team. They haven't really been in many big situations, but we saw them week 18 against the Packers Sunday night. They were chilled out. They were kicking ass, and they weren't scared at all. And the Lions are hungry, and with their young defense, with a whole nother training camp, a whole nother offseason of training, with their new additions, their defense is going to be solid. Might be able to stop Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce a little bit, but I think the Lions offense outscores the GOAT. Okay, I won't talk about that game anymore. The Lions open up 1-0 against KC. Moving on to week 2, it's the home opener against Seattle. The Lions are looking for revenge. We remember the 48-45 loss early last season, and we remember the Seahawks beating the Rams and taking our playoff spot. So because of those reasons, this game may scare Lions fans. You know, the Seahawks are a scary team. They have a strong offense, got a new wide receiver, got a new cornerback in Devin Witherspoon. They got an old Legion of Boom linebacker. Legion of Boom 2.0? No. The Lions are going to win this game. The Seahawks, sure, they added some more defense, but they still aren't going to be stopping the run. You can't go from the worst run defense in the league to stopping Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery with just a few players. It's going to take a lot more than that. The Seahawks can't stop the Lions' run. They won't be able to stop the Lions' offense in general. Maybe they'll be able to lower the passing, but with the run and the play action, I think it's going to be too much for Seattle. And with the Lions' new additions on defense, I don't think Seattle puts up that many. If they put up 48 points again, then that's just going to be bad for not only the Lions, but for me making these predictions. I think the Lions easily beat Seattle. Maybe it's a close game for a little bit, but I think the Lions pull away and take another dub. Week 3 against the Falcons, again at home. That really helps. The Falcons may be able to put up a decent amount of points with their run game. You know, the Lions struggled against the run last year. They're probably not going to be immune to the run this year, and the Falcons obviously have a pretty solid offensive line and great running backs, but that's all the Falcons have. They have no defense. They put all their chips into offense, and the Lions are going to rout the Falcons. Then week 4, primetime against the Packers, Thursday Night Football. The Lions have 4 primetime games and Thanksgiving this season. Super exciting. 2 of them are against the Packers, including Thanksgiving. I think the Lions beat the Packers here. I could see them losing this here because I think Jordan Love is going to be a pretty solid starter. And the Packers have a pretty solid defense. It's going to be close. It's away, Lambeau Field. But come on, fuck the Packers. The Lions win this one. Fuck the Packers. I know this is a bit bold, but I think week 5 and week 6, the Panthers and the Bucks should be pretty solid wins for the Lions. Maybe they end up being close, but I don't think they're going to be close. If any of these games are going to be close, I think it's going to be definitely the Panthers. I think the Lions start this season 6-0 and take their first loss week 7 away at Baltimore. Week 8 against the Raiders. I think the Lions take this one as well. They start out their season 7-1. Now, this may seem a little too ambitious, but I predicted the Lions 9-8 season last year. I'm an unbiased Lions fan. Trust me, I'm right. Davante Adams could cause problems for the Lions. You know, you put 2 guys on him, he'll still find a way to be open. If the Raiders and Garoppolo have a strong quarterback playing, could be close, but I think the Lions win this one because it's at home. And the Lions are pretty strong at home. Week 9, they have a bye week. Week 10, it's nice that the Lions have a bye week when they are playing Thursday Night Football the next week, so they don't have only 3 days of rest. The Chargers, I think the Lions take their second loss of the season here, and they are 7-2 after week 10. The Chargers are a pretty strong team, pretty solid offense, pretty solid defense. We know Brandon Staley and his defensive schemes. They seem to be working. Would like to see some more out of Justin Herbert, but that's for another video. Bye weeks obviously help teams, and it's nice that the Lions have one here before Thursday Night Football. I wouldn't want to move this one at all, and it's right in the middle of the season. But sometimes I feel like a bye week can take a team out of their rhythm. I think that might happen here. And I had the Chargers winning this game. You know, Brandon Staley with his defensive schemes, maybe he somehow finds a way to mess up Ben Johnson's rhythm a little bit. Either way, the Lions might not have the strongest game. They've been off for nearly 14 days. I think the Chargers take it here, and the Lions have their second loss of the season. So the Lions are 7-2 going into week 11 at home against the Bears. They win. Week 12, Thanksgiving against the Packers. Fuck the Packers. They better have a blowout on Thanksgiving. Last Thanksgiving was way too stressful. The Lions take another win. They're now 9-2 after Thanksgiving. Week 12 and week 13, the Saints and then the Bears. Oh, both away. Both could be close. I think the Lions pull out the win in both of these and are 11-2. 11-2 heading into week 15. This may sound crazy, and I understand if you totally disagree with all my predictions, because no Lions fan should ever have confidence. And honestly, I should not be saying the Lions win any game, because no game for the Lions is 100% guaranteed, because it's the Detroit Lions. We all know what's happened in the past. We all know what could happen in the future. The refs are in Green Bay's pocket on Thanksgiving. Jordan Love throws 3 interceptions. They're all called back, and the season is ruined. Week 15, though, heading in against the Broncos at home. The Lions do take the L here. The Broncos are going to be good. There's no way Russell Wilson chokes like he did last season. The Broncos now have Sean Payton. They still have a top 5 defense. They're going to be good. They're going to be strong. It's going to be one of the Lions' harder games, in my opinion. And they're just going to take the L, then headed into week 16. I think they get a little bit of a losing streak here. They lose against the Vikings away. Kirk and Justin Jefferson tag one on. You know, the Vikings don't have a very good defense, but I think the Lions are getting a little bit of a slump here towards the end of the season. They lose against the Broncos. It's a tough loss at home. You know, the Broncos defense really pound their offense into the ground, and then the next week they kind of lose their confidence. Don't really have much going for them. Just a tough game, and the Vikings pull out with the win. But then, that's, you know, the loss is what the Lions needed come week 17. Going back to Dallas. Why do the Lions always have to go to Dallas? Why don't the Cowboys ever come to Detroit? Because it's America's favorite team. Fuck the Cowboys too, you know, while I'm at it. The Lions get revenge here. They destroy the Cowboys week 18. They get their revenge on the Vikings from 2 weeks ago. I don't really like how we play the Vikings 2 times in 3 weeks at the end of the season, but it doesn't matter. The Lions destroy the Cowboys, destroy the Vikings. They end their season 13-4 and get a home playoff game with a bye week. Little 2-loss losing streak they had propels them. It motivates them. They get 2 great dubs at the end of the season. Domination against the Cowboys and Vikings propels them into the playoffs with a bunch of confidence, and they make the NFC Championship. That's my prediction for the Lions this season. It may seem way too bold. I understand if you think that. I said the Lions are going to go 13-4 this season, and just kind of even saying my predictions out loud in this 10-minute video, I feel like I've gone a little bit clinically insane. Anything can happen. Everyone's predictions are valid, unless you think that the Packers or Cowboys are going to beat the Lions this year. Then you're crazier than me, and you saw how crazy I was. I said the Lions are going to win 13 games this season. It's all in good fun, though. If you enjoy my content, I would really appreciate any support, a subscription, a like, a comment. Comment what you think the Lions are going to do. I always enjoy reading comments. And I know I'm crazy, but I do truly think the Lions are going to win 13 games this season, at least win 1 playoff game. But I have hopes for the Super Bowl this season. I think the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl. I said it. That's way too crazy, though, honestly. Like, saying it makes me feel crazy, but the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl. I'm telling you. Just hope and dream and pray a lot. For the Lions to win the Super Bowl this season, they might have to do it Aaron Rodgers style and make some new friends. And by new friends, I mean some new friends that wear white and black striped shirts and pants during NFL games and control the game. Fuck the